wouldn't start talking with the U.S. unless tariffs were suspended.
China says in order to have substantive negotiations, you have to bring down your 145% tariffs. Are you open to pulling back your tariffs in order to get China to the negotiating table?
No.
China's Commerce Ministry also claimed the U.S. approached Beijing to start talking, but on Wednesday, Trump seemed to suggest the opposite. Meanwhile, the Trump administration is considering exempting car seats, baby strollers, cribs, and other essential items for transporting children from the 145% tariffs in place on China. That's according to Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who testified before the House Financial Services Committee Wednesday. Trump sent mixed signals later. He told reporters he would look at specific industry requests for exemptions, but preferred to keep the duties broader and less complicated.
I want to make it nice and simple. I'm not looking to have so many exemptions that nobody knows what's doing. We have to make it very simple.
Late in the day, Trump also teased a major trade deal with representatives of a big and highly respected country that he'd announced Thursday. The New York Times reported shortly after that it was a deal with the UK, citing 3 people familiar with the plans. It will mark the first trade deal struck since Trump's self-styled Liberation Day, when he imposed tariffs on all countries in early April. A White House spokesperson declined to comment on the Times report.
Air travelers from the U.S. must now be their real ID self. As of Wednesday, the TSA will no longer accept state-issued identifications that are not Real ID compliant. U.S. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said this week that air travelers who do not have Real ID cards may face enhanced security.
If it's not compliant, they may be diverted to a different line, have an extra step, but people will be allowed to fly.
Noem said 19 states issue driver licenses to immigrants who are not in the U.S. legally, and enforcing the Real ID will deny those individuals the ability to travel by air. The change has caused some confusion and longer lines at U.S. airports. On Wednesday, 70-year-old Diane Lawyer told Reuters she was traveling from Newark to Florida with her passport because her efforts to get the Real ID failed.
No, I can't get my Real ID. I've tried and tried and tried, but there's absolutely no openings anywhere in the state of New Jersey. For the last month or so I've been trying, but I do have a passport. We came extra early because we thought there might be a lot of problem with a lot of other people. So we were wanting to try to avoid the lines.
In early April, the TSA said passengers 18 or older without passports or the enhanced ID, quote, can expect to face delays, additional screening, and the possibility of not being permitted into the security checkpoints. That prompted a rush to get the new ID cards as the deadline loomed. In Pennsylvania, J.L. Costin endured one of the many long lines for the enhanced ID.
I looked at the line and of course I was amazed, but then I'm thinking, they've been advertising this for a while, and so this is the consequences I have to face because I should have probably gotten it sooner when they first started advertising. I know I need it, so I got to get in the line.
People will also need Real IDs or similarly compliant IDs to visit a federal building starting Wednesday.
The Gordon B. Garrett Funeral Home has been serving the needs of Titusville and surrounding communities since 1965. Mr. Garrett believed in tradition and commitment to excellence, standards that have been passed down from one generation to now a new generation, who will work to provide you with a beautiful, lasting tribute to your loved one. When you need them, they will be there for you. This has been their foundation for almost 60 years. The Gordon B. Garrett Funeral Home, 303 North Washington Street in Titusville.
Anyone with a kind and generous heart and a little money can be a philanthropist. You too can be a force for good in our community, and the Crawford Heritage Community Foundation is here to help you make the most of your charitable giving. We've partnered with hundreds of people like you to make our world and our community a better place. You can give through us to support scholarships or any charitable organization or purpose. Whether you're interested in establishing a permanent endowment or adding to an existing fund, we want to be a part of your plan. Contact us when you're ready to make your mark. Together, we can make your contribution go further.
If you're looking for a professional massage therapist, Tranquil Moments Massage in Titusville is here for you. Ray and Rauch graduated from Slippery Rock University with a bachelor's degree in exercise and rehabilitative sciences with an emphasis in athletic training. Tranquil Moments offers a wide range of services, from Swedish massage to deep tissue, sugar scrubs to hot towel inclusion therapy. Like them on Facebook and visit their website to learn more about all the services they offer. Tranquil Moments Massage in Titusville.
Thinking about switching to 5G home internet? Think again. Unlike Zoom from Armstrong, 5G home internet is delivered by a cell tower. The further away you are, or the more devices connected to that tower, the slower your internet is. Cell phone providers also play favorites. When their network gets busy, cell phones win, and your home internet pays the price. Stick with Armstrong to get more data, more speed, and internet whenever you need it, not whenever they want. Armstrong, keeping you connected.
J. Gill Plumbing and Heating takes pride in being the premier heating and air conditioning service provider in the area. With over 30 years of experience, our highly skilled and certified technicians will work closely with you to address your heating and air conditioning repair, installation, or maintenance needs. Our team is dedicated to making your home the ultimate place of comfort. Call today to get a free estimate. We also offer financing options and membership opportunities that provide peace of mind and cost savings. Call J. Gill Plumbing and Heating today or visit them online 24/7 at jgillplumbingheating.com.
Sheer Design is Titusville's exclusive Paul Mitchell-focused salon. This full-service salon specializes in coloring, cuts, nails, and tanning. Owner Angela Saxon has over 20 years' experience as a Paul Mitchell professional. She and her licensed staff offer all cuts and styles for men and women of all ages. Call 814-827-0010 or stop in at 116 South Kerr Street in Titusville.
Hi, I'm Jasmine Levin, and I proudly own and operate Puppy Levin. Puppy Levin is a pet care salon dedicated to caring for your furry companions. We provide certified dog grooming services along with boarding and doggy daycare. Our facility is family-owned and operated and promise personalized care for every pet that comes through our doors. If you're worried about your furry friend being lonely when you're gone, we also have on-site personnel 24/7 just for their comfort. Follow us on Facebook and call or text us at 814-758-9259 to make an appointment today.
Share the fun of train travel and relive our country's oil history as you ride the OC&T through the valley that changed the world. Learn about the past while traveling on vintage cars. See a variety of wildlife with stops at Drakewell Park, Petroleum Center, and Oil Creek State Park. Arrive early and see the vast collection of train and railroad memorabilia at Perry Street Station. After the ride, enjoy a night's stay at the Caboose Motel. For seasonal specials or for more information, visit octrr.org or call 814-676-1733.
U.S. stocks rose Wednesday after the Federal Reserve kept interest rates unchanged, and President Donald Trump reportedly made comments that gave a lift to shares of chip companies. The Dow added 0.7%, the S&P 500 climbed about 0.4%, and the Nasdaq gained roughly 0.25%. Late in the session, stocks rallied as chip makers jumped after Bloomberg reported the Trump administration plans to rescind artificial intelligence chip curbs put in place during the Biden administration. A spokesperson for the Commerce Department later confirmed to Reuters this was in the works. Shares of chip makers Nvidia and Micron Technologies jumped 3% and more than 2.5% respectively. Earlier, the Fed kept rates steady, with the central bank saying the risks of both higher inflation and unemployment had risen, further clouding the economic outlook as it grapples with the impact of Trump's tariff policies. Eric Ditton, president and managing director of the Wealth Alliance, says Fed Chair Jerome Powell is waiting for more clarity before making any move on rates.
Trump's policy has flip-flopped. I've said before, he tariffed, he untariffed, he re-tariffed, and then he partially untariffed. So if you're a corporate CEO, it's extremely hard to plan when you don't know the rules. And that's the same for Powell. He doesn't know the rules. He doesn't know how it's going to play out yet. And so it's easiest for him and the Fed to wait until uncertainty declines.
Markets are still pricing in a rate cut of at least 25 basis points from the Fed at its July meeting, according to LSEG data. Other stocks on the move Wednesday included Disney, which surged more than 10.5% after it posted profit and revenue that topped expectations. And Google parent Alphabet dropped more than 7% after a source told Reuters that Apple is actively looking at reshaping its Safari web browser to focus on AI-powered search engines, citing an Apple executive's testimony at an antitrust case over Google's dominance in online search.
All right, let's take a look at that weather forecast for northwest Pennsylvania on this Thursday morning. Areas of patchy fog, early cloudy this morning. A few showers developing this afternoon with temperatures in the upper 50s today. Mostly cloudy skies tonight with lows in the low 40s. Friday, cloudy, mid-50s. Saturday, sunshine, upper 60s. Sunday, sunny, low 70s. Monday, mostly sunny with temperatures in the low 80s. Next week, mostly 70s and upper 70s. So, yeah, things are really shaping up here. Meadville this morning at 47 degrees. Cambridge Springs, Edinburgh at 46. Titusville, 50. Franklin this morning, 51. Oil City, 51 degrees here at 7:14. This is the Morning Drill. You're watching it on Stream TV and on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel. Happy Thursday, everybody. It's one of those things, Aim, I just noticed in the monitor. You're absolutely correct. This shirt, the undershirt does not go at all. I don't know what I was thinking this morning. So I do apologize. Dark? Yeah, well, that would have been a good excuse, but that didn't happen this morning.
Sorry.
So.
Yeah, no.
Oh, man. That's kind of goofy looking.
It is.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Well,
it's fine.
We're supposed to be covering track later today, and it's supposed to be cooler. So I thought, well, I'll make sure I'm okay. And I should have gone with the shirt I usually wear.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought, you know what? I'm going to mix it up today.
Do you want our son to bring it to you?
No, I don't know. It's fine. I have a sweatshirt and I have a jacket, so
hopefully it'll be covered. Not really, because you got this right here.
Well, so stepping outside this morning, I thought it was going to be pretty cold. It wasn't too bad.
It wasn't bad.
No. Quite pleasant this morning.
It's a nice day.
You've got birthdays and what we're celebrating coming up.
I do.
Later this morning, we're going to sit down and chat with Mr. Bill Allen from Titusville Ford. Angela Morton, the host of Recovery Is. She's going to be joining us. So that's what we're doing here on a Thursday.
Busy morning.
Memorial Day weekend, a couple weeks away. I'm not forgetting Mother's Day. I'll come back to that.
Okay.
I thought, so we were had to run out to my parents real quick last night, and I thought, as my dad was saying, hey, there's talk about getting together. I thought he was going to say for Memorial Day.
Oh.
It
Or
wasn't.
the 4th of July.
It's 4th of July. I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, okay. Already talking about the 4th.
Yep.
Woo. Slow down. But yeah, that'll be here before you know it.
Yeah.
So it's crazy to think, like, I just yesterday, probably talking to 4 different people, and well, you were one of them, I think, where you're throwing out like these dates in July that things are happening.
Mm-hmm.
So
graduation parties are being planned, and
we're gonna have to get on the same page on all that. You're gonna have to do a calendar and a spreadsheet and all that stuff.
I'm already on it.
You have all that already?
Yes.
Look at you. Okay. Now, Mother's Day. So I was talking to
That's on you.
One of my best friends yesterday, and he's like, what are you doing this weekend? I'm like, I think Mother's Day stuff. He goes, oh, no. Yeah.
He's the one who had to save you one year. Remember that?
Well, I saved him yesterday.
You did.
So it's like Mother's Day. Well, he was on a work trip and just got back, and So, and they're running this weekend. They've got softball tournaments like in Ohio. That's a crazy thing. Like the high school baseball and softball season doesn't feel like it completely ends when all the travel stuff kicks up. And some of these families, I mean, they're like every weekend from now until August, they're spending every weekend at a softball tournament or a baseball tournament.
This is there are a group of us that were like laughing. This is the first year our kids have done travel soccer, and every
in the spring.
In the spring,
yeah.
And every Mother's Day we are usually at a tournament or a game, and then every Father's Day we're at a tournament. So this is like our son isn't doing it. He's doing tennis, and
just taking a break from soccer.
Taking a break, and he'll kick it back up in the fall, right? Yeah. Anyways, but it's first year in a long time that I'm not running between 2 different.
It's kind of nice.
It is.
It's kind of like, well, I'm not going to say. I already said it earlier.
Like what?
We had 2 kids that were involved with track, and our the last kid that's sort of hanging around.
Yeah.
He's doing tennis instead of doing track, and so those Saturday morning like invitationals and all that stuff we haven't had to go to this year. So it's been kind of nice in that regard. There's a piece of me that's like, I kind of miss some of that stuff.
Get up, get ready, work. We're off, and then wherever community we're in, we're trying to find something fun to do there. So that's because we've got some time between events. But yeah.
Well, and I don't want to say too much about track because we're covering track later today, and it is fun to watch. It's great to support the kids and all the coaches who are involved and all the hard work they put in. But I play tennis, so I'm kind of excited our son is going that direction. It seemed like this was the year, like our kids, because we always said our kids played sports that we didn't really play.
Yes.
I mean, they love soccer. That was probably their main sport, right?
Yeah.
And then, like this year, it sort of hit like, okay, they now love skiing.
Yeah.
Our youngest now is liking tennis. I don't know if he loves it, but he's enjoying it.
I think he's our kids are athletic, so they do a good job just kind of blending in regardless of whether they know what they're doing or not. I I think he thought he was just going to step out there and be more competitive than and he's getting adjusted to because I mean, soccer's a whole nother beast. It's a lot of aggression and a lot of energy, and tennis isn't. So he's just trying to find his way there.
Yeah.
He's very much like his mom, who wants to see how far that tennis ball can fly, or can I appropriately aim it at somebody?
Well, yeah, but it takes practice. I will provide a video clip of Amy golfing, and just sort of illustrate the point, because as a softball player, somebody who's very competitive, when Amy steps up to the tee, it's like she's stepping into the batter's box.
Yes.
So I feel I should get a video of you.
I'm sure there's one out there. I'm
okay.
Pretty sure.
One of your friends has one?
Yeah. I think so.
If we can get a hold of that, then we can show the audience what
we're up against. I know. I can't help it. I'm competitive, unfortunately, with everything, even with mowing grass.
I know.
Like I can't help it.
There's something wrong with you.
Yeah. Cleaning the house.
Yeah.
All of it.
So we are excited to celebrate you this weekend, because there's something majorly wrong with you.
Competitive.
All right. Today is the 8th of May.
It is.
Before we get to what we're celebrating, who are we celebrating? Who's celebrating a birthday?
All right. Actress Melissa Gilbert is 61. Singer Enrique Iglesias is 50. Actor Stephen Amell is 44. Actor Domhnall Gleeson is 42. Actress and influencer Olivia Culpa is 33. And that is all.
Here's one more for you. Blue Wiggle, Anthony Field, celebrating your birthday.
Sweet.
Okay.
All right. You ready?
What?
I have it. I have it up today.
Yeah, you missed one yesterday, a pretty important one. It was did you hear?
Yes. So here's my thing.
Okay.
No, I heard. So I didn't bring this because I was in a hurry, and I brought this, and I was switching back and forth, and by the time I went back, it had timed out, and then it told me the page was unavailable, and it kept showing up as unavailable to me. So
excuses.
But I can have both up.
What are we celebrating?
Free Trade Day, Iris Day, Jamestown Day, Make a Book Day, National Animal Disaster Preparedness Day, National Children's Mental Health Awareness Day, National Coconut Cream Pie Day, National Give Someone a Cupcake Day, National Have a Coke Day, National Maria Day, National Nova Day, National Report Government Contractor Fraud, National Student Nurse Day, No Socks Day, Reward Yourself Day, Time of Remembrance and Reconciliation for those who lost their lives in World War II, Truman Day, Victory in Europe Day, White Lotus Day, World Donkey Day, World Ovarian Cancer Day, World Red Cross, and Red Crescent Day. There you go.
All right. I was, we had, not on the show, but it was afterwards, our friends from the Erie Veterans came down to visit and record some stuff with us. What day was that? Tuesday?
Monday.
Monday.
Was it might have been Tuesday.
Okay, Tuesday.
I don't remember what day it is.
I know. And we were talking about just, the who comes through the building. A lot of Korean War, Vietnam, but those who served in World War II, obviously getting fewer and fewer and fewer, but when they come into the building, everybody just lights up, and they love talking to these folks. And I think they, it's tough for veterans to share sometimes, but to encourage them to show appreciation, but encouraging them to, share some of their stories is extremely important. And they were just saying how they get just a big smile when they're able to talk to somebody. So, yeah, it was pretty cool. But they've got that great program. We had Cami Mazza on talking about being able to partner with veterans and bringing them into your home. And it's a great program, and I'm sure we'll hear much more about it again down the road when we catch up with them. But the other thing, I had a great conversation yesterday with Krista Gear from Active Aging, and they've got sort of a similar thing, a share program. And I said to her, I think years ago we had some folks on from Crawford and Venango County talking about this program, where you might have a student going to Allegheny College that stays with somebody, and they're able to help out around the house and do things. But it's a great concept, and if you're at home alone and maybe you got the space and would want to invite somebody in, there's opportunities to do that. So it's pretty cool. But Active Aging, they've got a lot going on.
They do. They definitely do have a lot going on. Some great programs, a lot of support, and it's needed. A lot of so many different levels of needed care for the elderly, and it could be as simple as just having an extra person around the house to help with the the daily chores. I couldn't even imagine. The meals are huge. Yeah, no, you don't want to leave your home. Your home is your place of comfort, but sometimes I'm sure it becomes too much, to be too overwhelming. And they have so many programs that will allow the older to stay in their homes. If, like you say, meals, or they'll help with different in-home care, or they'll put you in the right direction of what organizations to call, to help your parents or those in need, because they do love their home, and it's their safe zone. And
it's awesome. It's also important to be able to socialize with people. I mean, that is huge.
Yeah, and they have Active Aging has a lot of programs for that too. Get them out of the house. There's transportation for them to go to these programs, and there's a lot to do. It's like they have little dances and art time, and it's just really cool.
I was touring the facility in Meadville, and I served on the Titusville board a long time ago, but they've done so much at Active Aging in Meadville with the Lou Davies Center, and so I got to tour that yesterday, and it was amazing. It was beautiful. I kept saying to Chris, everything's so bright and vibrant and a lot of light, and it looked like it was just a great positive place to be. So it was pretty cool. I appreciate the tour, and hopefully we'll be hearing a lot more about the activities that are going on, not just at Active Aging in Meadville, but there are other partners throughout the county as well. So looking forward to that. All right, we're coming up on already 7:30. Hard to believe. Ooh. We will bring you the latest headlines here this morning, get you caught up with everything happening on Wall Street and in the world of business. So it's all coming up, and if you're just joining us, we'll recap that forecast for you. This is the Morning Drill. You're watching it on Stream TV and on Armstrong Neighborhood Channel. It's our live shot here this morning outside the studio. Here's the live shot of Pittsburgh on this Thursday morning.
When I show the talk, they take it and they have just walk away. Waking up with a Luke and Amy on the Morning Drill.
U.S. President Donald Trump says he won't cut U.S. tariffs on Chinese goods to get Beijing to the negotiating table. His comments Wednesday came ahead of Saturday's icebreaker trade talks between China and the U.S. in Geneva. Until talks were announced this week, there had been no clear sign the world's top two economies wanted to defuse a trade war disrupting the global economy. And as tensions ratcheted up, Beijing has repeatedly said it wouldn't start talking with the U.S. unless tariffs were suspended.
China says in order to have substantive negotiations, you have to bring down your 145% tariffs. Are you open to pulling back your tariffs in order to get China to the negotiating table?
No.
China's Commerce Ministry also claimed the U.S. approached Beijing to start talking, but on Wednesday, Trump seemed to suggest the opposite. Meanwhile, the Trump administration is considering exempting car seats, baby strollers, cribs, and other essential items for transporting children from the 145% tariffs in place on China. That's according to Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who testified before the House Financial Services Committee Wednesday. Trump sent mixed signals later. He told reporters he would look at specific industry requests for exemptions, but preferred to keep the duties broader and less complicated.
I want to make it nice and simple. I'm not looking to have so many exemptions that nobody knows what's doing. We have to make it very simple.
Late in the day, Trump also teased a major trade deal with representatives of a big and highly respected country that he'd announced Thursday. The New York Times reported shortly after that it was a deal with the UK, citing 3 people familiar with the plans. It will mark the first trade deal struck since Trump's self-styled Liberation Day, when he imposed tariffs on all countries in early April. A White House spokesperson declined to comment on the Times report.
Air travelers from the U.S. must now be their real ID self. As of Wednesday, the TSA will no longer accept state-issued identifications that are not Real ID compliant. U.S. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said this week that air travelers who do not have Real ID cards may face enhanced security.
If it's not compliant, they may be diverted to a different line, have an extra step, but people will be allowed to fly.
Noem said 19 states issue driver licenses to immigrants who are not in the U.S. legally, and enforcing the Real ID will deny those individuals the ability to travel by air. The change has caused some confusion and longer lines at U.S. airports. On Wednesday, 70-year-old Diane Lawyer told Reuters she was traveling from Newark to Florida with her passport because her efforts to get the Real ID failed.
No, I can't get my Real ID. I've tried and tried and tried, but there's absolutely no openings anywhere in the state of New Jersey. For the last month or so, I've been trying, but I do have a passport. We came extra early because we thought there might be a lot of problem with a lot of other people. So we were wanting to try to avoid the lines.
In early April, the TSA said passengers 18 or older without passports or the enhanced ID, quote, can expect to face delays, additional screening, and the possibility of not being permitted into the security checkpoints. That prompted a rush to get the new ID cards as the deadline loomed. In Pennsylvania, J.L. Costin endured one of the many long lines for the enhanced ID.
I looked at the line and of course I was amazed, but then I'm thinking, they've been advertising this for a while, and so this is the consequences I have to face because I should have probably gotten it sooner when they first started advertising. I know I need it, so I got to get in the line.
People will also need Real IDs or similarly compliant IDs to visit a federal building starting Wednesday.
Vehicle shopping? Make sure you check out Titusville Ford first. Shop our amazing selection of new and pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs in stock. Visit us on Route 8 in Titusville and see why our customer service is a cut above the rest. Titusville Ford, your hometown dealer.
Winter rages on in northwest Pennsylvania, and luckily Vanderhoof Heating and Air Conditioning is only a phone call away when your heating emergency strikes. Whether it's residential or light commercial, new construction, repair, or replacement, Vanderhoof has the experience to get the job done right. Call today to set up an appointment or visit the Vanderhoof website to learn more. At Vanderhoof Heating and Air Conditioning, we look forward to fulfilling all of your HVAC needs and projects now and into the future. Vanderhoof Heating and Air Conditioning in Titusville.
Marsh Home Center Furniture, Appliances, and Bedding is located at 305 East Spring Street in Titusville. Marsh Home Center welcomes you in to explore their growing inventory of name brand furniture, appliances, and bedding. Need something not currently in stock? No problem. Order from Marsh's online catalog and have it delivered right to your door. Visit Marsh's to see their entire showroom, ask questions, see what items are on sale, or just stop in and say hi. Marsh Home Center Furniture, Appliances, and Bedding, behind Giant Eagle in Titusville.
Looking for expert orthopedic care? Dr. Charlie Gates, a trusted name at Titusville Area Hospital, can help you regain mobility and a better quality of life. With years of experience and a passion for personalized care, Dr. Gates specializes in treating a wide range of orthopedic conditions. Whether it's joint pain, sports injuries, or orthopedic surgery, trust Dr. Charlie Gates at Titusville Area Hospital for your orthopedic care. Call 814-827-9770 today to schedule your appointment.
Welcome to Inspire Med Spa, the place you know and love for massages, Botox, laser resurfacing, and semi-permanent makeup. Now we're offering even more, including laser hair removal, tattoo removal, and hair rejuvenation. Our team is here to provide expert care in a peaceful, luxurious environment designed with your relaxation in mind. And with our newly added services, now you can get all your beauty services in one place. Visit Inspire Med Spa today, because you deserve to look and feel your best.
Interstate Pipe and Supply takes pride in providing superior customer service. That's why our dedicated employees are well trained and have the experience to offer friendly, quick, and reliable service and support. Need materials delivered to your job site? No problem. Interstate offers fast delivery from our 4 locations in Western Pennsylvania. We also serve Eastern Ohio, Northern Western Virginia, and Western New York. Service means business at Western Pennsylvania's premier pipe and supply company, Interstate Pipe and Supply.
Whether you want to go and lead in your craft in the trades, whether you want to go and be that nurse or medical worker and have a real impact on lives, or whether you want to go and help that business improve its bottom line, this is the place, and now is your time to go with confidence, to go with skill, to go succeed. The Education and Training Center at Pitt Titusville.
I know sometimes we get into it and it's just hard on both of us, but try to understand me more and I'll try to do the same. But you have excuses because you're old, so it's okay.
Listening is a form of love. Find ways to support your kids at sounditouttogether.org.
It's Chevy Truck Month at Community Chevrolet, your Silverado headquarters. So we're getting out the Price Slicer.
Please handle with caution.
This truck month, save more than $9,000 off the new Chevy Silverado 1500 Custom Crew. More than $4,000 off the Silverado 1500 Crew Cab Custom. And more than $2,500 off the 2500.
With 3.9% financing for 5 human years.
The Price Slicer's out all truck month, only at Community Chevrolet.
U.S. stocks rose Wednesday after the Federal Reserve kept interest rates unchanged. And President Donald Trump reportedly made comments that gave a lift to shares of chip companies. The Dow added 0.7%. The S&P 500 climbed about 0.4, and the Nasdaq gained roughly 0.25%. Late in the session, stocks rallied as chip makers jumped after Bloomberg reported the Trump administration plans to rescind artificial intelligence chip curbs put in place during the Biden administration. A spokesperson for the Commerce Department later confirmed to Reuters this was in the works. Shares of chip makers Nvidia and Micron Technologies jumped 3% and more than 2.5% respectively. Earlier, the Fed kept rates steady, with the central bank saying the risks of both higher inflation and unemployment had risen, further clouding the economic outlook as it grapples with the impact of Trump's tariff policies. Eric Ditton, president and managing director of the Wealth Alliance, says Fed Chair Jerome Powell is waiting for more clarity before making any move on rates.
Trump's policy has flip-flopped. I've said before, he tariffed, he untariffed, he re-tariffed, and then he partially untariffed. So if you're a corporate CEO, it's extremely hard to plan when you don't know the rules. And that's the same for Powell. He doesn't know the rules. He doesn't know how it's going to play out yet. And so it's easiest for him and the Fed to wait until uncertainty declines.
Markets are still pricing in a rate cut of at least 25 basis points from the Fed at its July meeting, according to LSEG data. Other stocks on the move Wednesday included Disney, which surged more than 10.5% after it posted profit and revenue that topped expectations. And Google parent Alphabet dropped more than 7% after a source told Reuters that Apple is actively looking at reshaping its Safari web browser to focus on AI-powered search engines, citing an Apple executive's testimony at an antitrust case over Google's dominance in online search.
This is Fed Day, and Powell just announced a few minutes ago that he's leaving rates unchanged. No shocker there. I think the market he didn't say stagflation, but he certainly hinted at it. He said concerned about higher prices and slower growth, and that is the definition of stagflation and possibly higher unemployment. Look, you can go back to the March Beige Book. 47 times they mentioned the word uncertainty. We've never seen that in history. We're all tired of hearing that word, but the fact is that the markets hate uncertainty, and by the way, so does the Fed. So the Fed doesn't want to do anything until we get clarity. And that's going to take some time. That being said, let's be clear, the Fed should be cutting. The historic relationship between Fed funds and the 10-year Treasury rate is about a 1% differential. And right now, we're looking at a 4.25 to a 4.5 on the Fed funds rate, with the 10-year Treasury right in that range. So realistically, in a normal world, the Fed funds rate should be somewhere between 3.25 and 3.5. Because of the tariffs and the inherent price shock that we are expecting, the Fed does not want to cut rates into a potential increase in inflation. And so they're waiting. And so this is not the norm. This is a great market for diversification. And the last few years have not. The best thing you could have done the last few years was load up on the Magnificent Seven and defy the rules of investing. You're supposed to diversify, but diversification did not work. This year, it's working. Most of my reviews with clients, and we stay very diversified, year to date, they're either slightly negative or slightly positive in a real volatile and down market. What's bailing them out? Well, certainly international stocks. International's outperforming the U.S. by roughly 13% year to date. Emerging markets outperforming. These are areas that have been dead. They have way underperformed for a decade. And let's go back. Let's remember that after the tech bubble popped from 2000 to 2010, the S&P did nothing. and international and emerging market. Remember BRIC? Brazil, Russia, India, China. Emerging markets had a great decade when the S&P did nothing. So we've gotten to the point where international has really gotten cheap, and we're seeing that earnings expectations for U.S. companies coming down, earnings expectations for European international companies going up. Dollar is weakening. That's another good reason to own international.
In support of our goals, today the Federal Open Market Committee decided to leave our policy interest rate unchanged. The risks of higher unemployment and higher inflation appear to have risen, and we believe that the current stance of monetary policy leaves us well positioned to respond in a timely way to potential economic developments. There's just so much that we don't know. I think, and we're in a good position to wait and see is the thing. We don't have to be in a hurry. The economy has been resilient and is doing fairly well. Our policy is well positioned. The costs of waiting to see further are fairly low, we think. So that's what we're doing. And we'll see. The administration is entering into negotiations with many countries over tariffs. We'll know more with each week and month that goes by about where tariffs are going to land, and we'll know what the effects will be when we start to see those things. So we think we'll be learning. I can't tell you how long it will take, but for now it does seem like it's a fairly clear decision for us to wait and see and watch.
Toyota is bracing for a major impact from tariffs. The world's biggest automaker said Thursday that it expected profits to fall by a fifth this year, partly as a result. Besides the effect of the tariffs themselves, Toyota also faces a hit from the declining dollar, which reduces the value of its earnings in the US. The greenback slide is widely seen as a byproduct of the trade turmoil. Speaking at a news conference, Chief Executive Koji Sato said that details on the tariffs remained largely unclear, adding to the difficulty of dealing with them. Like all automakers, Toyota is also exposed to any downturn in growth and consumer sentiment as a result of the global tensions. If it decides to respond to the tariffs by shifting more output to the US, that could also mean a jump in spending if it has to expand factories there. The picture elsewhere in the world is also tough, not least in China. Though Toyota has seen its sales there fall less than other Japanese brands, it has still struggled to halt a decline amid mounting competition from Chinese makers. The one bright spot for the company is its home market of Japan, where profits jumped by 18% over the fourth quarter. Overall, the company saw operating profit for the 3 months through March come in nearly flat, up just 0.3%.
From OpenAI having a big change of heart to what NVIDIA has planned for China, this is AI Weekly. OpenAI won't turn into a for-profit company after all. Instead, the ChatGPT maker will leave its non-profit parent in charge, potentially limiting the power of boss Sam Altman. The move follows a storm of criticism and legal challenges, including a lawsuit by co-founder Elon Musk. He's accused OpenAI of straying from its mission to develop AI for the good of humanity. Boston Dynamics says its humanoid robot Atlas is going to work. It will start trials at a Hyundai car factory later this year. Company Director of Robotics Research Scott Kindersma says the android can match a human athlete.
A lot of the jobs that you might want a humanoid to actually do are the kind of jobs where it's basically back-breaking labor for a person to do. These are really challenging, ergonomically unfit tasks that we ask people to do or need people to do right now. And we think that robots will be much better suited for those.
The bots seem to be paying off for big banks. JP Morgan says AI helped it boost sales to wealthy clients and manage requests during the recent market turmoil. America's biggest bank says the tech helped supercharge the speed at which it can provide research and investment advice. Meanwhile, Goldman Sachs is rolling out an AI assistant to its bankers, and Morgan Stanley has developed a chatbot for its financial advisors. U.S. power consumption will hit record highs this year and next, according to official estimates. The increased demand comes in part from data centers dedicated to artificial intelligence and cryptocurrency, and as homes and businesses use more electricity for heat and transportation. The forecast comes as power companies race to strike deals with tech firms, including Constellation Energy's move to reopen a reactor at 3 Mile Island to feed Microsoft. And Nvidia is tweaking the design of some of its chips so they can be sold to Chinese customers without clashing with U.S. export rules. The company declined to comment on the report from tech publication The Information. It says the chip giant has told big customers like Alibaba and ByteDance that the new silicon will be ready as soon as June.
Disney shares surged as much as 12% Wednesday morning after the media giant exceeded expectations in its most recent quarter, bolstered by an unexpected boost in its Disney Plus streaming business and strong results from its theme parks. CEO Bob Iger said, quote, "Despite questions around any macroeconomic uncertainty or the impact of competition, I'm encouraged by the strength and resilience of our business. Profit and revenue top forecasts, and Disney announced plans for a new theme park in Abu Dhabi. It also said its Disney Plus streaming service added 1.4 million customers during the just-ended quarter. 3 months ago, it had warned of a modest decline in Disney Plus subscribers following a price increase. Disney, unlike many other blue-chip companies, voiced a lofty outlook for the rest of the year. Amid a shaky U.S. economy, Disney is leaning on its streaming business to grow profits and to expand its popular theme parks and cruise line. The company's chief financial officer said theme park attendance, quote, "is actually still quite good." The lone exception is at Shanghai Disney Resort and Hong Kong Disneyland, where attendance has dropped, which he attributed to the Chinese economy.
Well, areas of patchy fog early, cloudy with occasional rain showers, and temperatures today in the upper 50s. Cloudy early with some clearing expected late, low in the low 40s tonight. Friday, mostly cloudy, mid-50s. Saturday, sunshine, upper 60s. Sunday for Mother's Day, sunny and low 70s. Monday, mostly sunny, low 80s. And Tuesday, some afternoon rain showers with temperatures in the low 70s. Next week looking really nice. Mostly 70s next week, if not pushing 80s. So, yeah, we're getting there. Meadville this morning, checking in at 48 degrees. Camber Springs, Edinburgh at 46. Titusville at 50. Franklin this morning, 52. Oil City, 52 degrees here at 7:53. Live shot of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania here this morning. Again, Thursday morning, getting you closer to the weekend. We'll go through some sports scores for you from last night. I did see an update from that fan that fell at PNC. And, like he said, every bone is broken. And
oh, my Lord.
He addressed the media yesterday, I guess. So he's got a long ways to go. But
that's terrible.
Yeah, he's having some back issues, can't sleep. But he fell 20-plus feet. So.
Exactly. He's still alive.
Yeah.
Just a long road of recovery.
That's right. Last night, Major League Baseball action. The Guardians over the Nationals 8-6. Astros batting their way past the Brewers 9-1. Cardinals with the 5-0 win over the Pirates. Giants beat the Cubs 3-1. Mariners over the A's 6-5. Mets over the Diamondbacks 7-1. Miami fell to the Dodgers 10-1. Red Sox with the win over the Rangers at home 6-4. The Phillies beat the Tampa Bay Rays on the road 7-0. Yankees with the win over the Padres in 10 innings 4-3. Braves fell to the Reds 4-3. Twins over the Orioles 5-2. Royals beat the White Sox 2-1. Tigers beating the Colorado Rockies 8-6 and 10. Angels over the Blue Jays 5-4. Major League Baseball action for today. You've got the Twins taking on the Orioles at 1:10. Red Sox hosting the Rangers at 1:35. Royals and White Sox, that game will get underway at 2:10. Rockies have the Tigers at 3:10. Tonight at 6:10, Rockies and Tigers. Rays and Phillies at 7:05. Braves and Reds at 7:15. Angels, Blue Jays at 9:38. And Diamondbacks and Dodgers at 9:40 tonight. The Pirates have the night off. maybe the rest of the season would be a good place to start. They need some help. They are 12 and 26. 12 and 26. You got the Cubs at the top of the National League Central Division with a record of 22 and 16. Then Cincinnati at 19 and 19. Milwaukee is 19 and 19. St. Louis 19 and 19. Pittsburgh 12 and 26. American League for our Cleveland fans. American League Central Division. Pittsburgh sitting behind Detroit. Detroit with a record of 23 and 13. Cleveland a game and a half back at 22 and 15. Kansas City 22 and 16. Minnesota 17 and 20. The Chicago White Sox 10 and 27. Well, last night, I was going to get into basketball, but let me do this first. NHL scores from yesterday. Maple Leafs skated past the Panthers to win 4-3. Maple Leafs lead that series 2-0. Dallas Stars beating the Jets. That took place in Winnipeg, 3-2. Stars lead that series 1-0. Tonight, you've got the Capitals and Hurricanes. Hurricanes lead that series 1-0. Golden Knights hosting the Edmonton Oilers at 9:30 tonight. Oilers lead that series 1-0. Last night in the NBA, you had the Knicks coming back and beating the Boston Celtics 91-90. Boston, at one point, I think we were skipping through, and they were up 20-some, about 20 points. And then Knicks came roaring back, 91-90 the final there. Knicks lead that series 2-0. Thunder with the win over the Nuggets, 149-106. That series all tied up. NBA action tonight. Timberwolves will take on the Warriors. Warriors lead that series 1-0. 8:30 is a tip-off of that game in Minnesota this evening. So if you're looking for something to watch, you got some hockey, you got NBA. It is Thursday, so they'll be teeing off for the first round over in Philadelphia later this morning. So there you got that, another week of golf. Scotty Scheffler not playing this weekend. Let's see. Anything else going on? Mother's Day weekend. We'll be talking more about that tomorrow.
Okay.
Time, right?
Time is huge.
Okay.
Time is just time. Give her time. Make her a priority.
I'll pencil you in. I have a slight opening, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I told somebody how mad you got. Well, no, I won't get into the story. Never mind.
You mean our first Mother's Day?
Yeah, I think I may have uttered the words, well, you aren't my mom.
Yep. And your mom, your mom flipped out. I didn't even have to say anything. Your dad was like, nice going.
Well, that sounds really harsh, but it wasn't quite like that.
You were new.
No, it wasn't quite like that. It wasn't like an evil, well, you're not my mother type of a thing.
Yeah. No, I think I'm going there. You got me nothing at all. And we started, we went to my mom's, gave her a gift, traveled to your parents, gave your mom her gift. And your mom was like, so what did you get for your first Mother's Day? And I said,
this makes it sound really bad.
I said, nothing. And she goes, and she looked at you and said, what? And you said, what? She's not my mom. And she lost it.
Yeah. I may not be here tomorrow. Have a great...
Lost it. It was great.
Bill Allen, Angela Morton next hour.
US President Donald Trump says he won't cut US tariffs on Chinese goods to get Beijing to the negotiating table. His comments Wednesday came ahead of Saturday's icebreaker trade talks between China and the US in Geneva. Until talks were announced this week, there had been no clear sign the world's top two economies wanted to defuse a trade war disrupting the global economy. And as tensions ratcheted up, Beijing has repeatedly said it wouldn't start talking with the US unless tariffs were suspended.
China says in order to have substantive negotiations, you have to bring down your 145% tariffs. Are you open to pulling back your tariffs in order to get China to the negotiating table?
No.
China's Commerce Ministry also claimed the US approached Beijing to start talking. But on Wednesday, Trump seemed to suggest the opposite. Meanwhile, the Trump administration is considering exempting car seats, baby strollers, cribs, and other essential items for transporting children from the 145% tariffs in place on China. That's according to Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who testified before the House Financial Services Committee Wednesday. Trump sent mixed signals later. He told reporters he would look at specific industry requests for exemptions, but preferred to keep the duties broader and less complicated.
I want to make it nice and simple. I'm not looking to have so many exemptions that nobody knows what's doing. We have to make it very simple.
Late in the day, Trump also teased a major trade deal with representatives of a big and highly respected country that he'd announced Thursday. The New York Times reported shortly after that it was a deal with the UK, citing 3 people familiar with the plans. It will mark the first trade deal struck since Trump's self-styled Liberation Day, when he imposed tariffs on all countries in early April. A White House spokesperson declined to comment on the Times report.
Hi, I'm Heather Roberts, and I'm running to be your next magisterial district judge. I was born and raised right here in Titusville and went on to earn a degree from Penn State University in crime, law, and justice. I began my career in victim services, working with survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault, helping them to navigate the justice system with strength, compassion, and dignity. Today, I work as a paralegal in family and personal injury law. I'm a proud mom of 3, and my husband Jack and I are proud to call Titusville home. I humbly ask for your vote and your support on May 20th at the primary election. Thank you.
Thinking about switching to 5G home internet? Think again. Unlike Zoom from Armstrong, 5G home internet is delivered by a cell tower. The further away you are, or the more devices connected to that tower, the slower your internet is. Cell phone providers also play favorites. When their network gets busy, cell phones win, and your home internet pays the price. Stick with Armstrong to get more data, more speed, and internet whenever you need it, not whenever they want. Armstrong, keeping you connected.
Are you tired of juggling multiple pill bottles? Titusville Express Pharmacy has your solution, now offering compliance packaging. Your medication sorted and sealed by dose, making it easier than ever to stay on track. In a hurry? Take advantage of our convenient drive-through service. We also offer free local delivery for those that qualify. Titusville Express Pharmacy, where convenience meets care. Visit us today at 401 West Spring Street in Titusville. Simplify your medication routine with Titusville Express Pharmacy.
Poppy's Equipment and Storage Rental in Pleasantville is committed to providing our customers with exceptional service while offering quality rental equipment. Poppy's is now an authorized steel dealer with everything you need to have for sawing and cutting or mowing to digging. And of course, Poppy's has tents, tables, chairs, heaters, generators, barbecues, and more for your next wedding or get-together. Need firewood or propane? No problem. Whether you're in construction or a weekend warrior, reach out to Poppy's about your next project. Poppy's Place on the Tenesta Road in Pleasantville. Community Connect Federal Credit Union, serving Crawford, Venango, Forest, and Warren counties. Their mission is to provide quality, low-cost, and personal financial products for the growth and security of their members and families. Stop in, call, or visit our website, communityconnectfcu.com, and click Join to get started. Community Connect Federal Credit Union, 1050 East Spring Street in Titusville.
For a unique shopping experience with great gift ideas, decor, and so much more, come check out what Titusville Market Square's nearly 100 vendors have to offer. Featuring unique items from local agribusiness, craftsmen, and vendors, we also offer products from 4 regional dairies, including a full line of Titusville dairy products. We carry a complete line of Amish wedding products, local honey, and maple syrup, as well as nostalgic Dog and Suds root beer and Fiestada pizzas. Don't forget to pick up fresh Clark's Donuts, delivered daily. Titusville Market Square, the new name in one-stop shopping.
Who can solve this equation? Ooh! Me. Anyone else? Fine. Jake from State Farm. Again.
All right. It's the personal price plan theorem. If you bundle your home and auto, that can equal an affordable price just for you. Bundling, just another way to save with the personal price plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Fat Chad's Brewing is Titusville's premier dining destination, offering fine dining served with a cold beverage and great conversations. Try our new menu items, the T-bone steak, homemade meatloaf dinner, or soft shell crab tacos. Our pasta entries and sandwiches are just as popular. Try the new lobster ravioli, shrimp and scallop pasta, or our popular Asiago chicken. Don't forget about our famous burgers or fish sandwich, all served with fresh cut fries. Come in Saturday nights for Wild Game Saturdays. For good food and good times, it's Fat Chad's Brewing in Titusville.
For over 11 years, Triple M Roofing has been providing Amish quality craftsmanship and work ethic that you can rely on. Pole barns, decks, porches, siding, and almost all roofing needs, Triple M Roofing will get the job done on time without sacrificing quality or the promise to deliver within your budget. Call today for a free estimate, 814-964-0472. Waiting is what you'll do with the other guys. Getting it done is what we do. Amish owned and operated, we're Triple M Roofing.
U.S. stocks rose Wednesday after the Federal Reserve kept interest rates unchanged, and President Donald Trump reportedly made comments that gave a lift to shares of chip companies. The Dow added 0.7%, the S&P 500 climbed about 0.4%, and the Nasdaq gained roughly 0.25%. Late in the session, stocks rallied as chip makers jumped after Bloomberg reported the Trump administration plans to rescind artificial intelligence chip curbs put in place during the Biden administration. A spokesperson for the Commerce Department later confirmed to Reuters this was in the works. Shares of chip makers Nvidia and Micron Technologies jumped 3% and more than 2.5% respectively. Earlier, the Fed kept rates steady, with the central bank saying the risks of both higher inflation and unemployment had risen, further clouding the economic outlook as it grapples with the impact of Trump's tariff policies. Eric Ditton, president and managing director of the Wealth Alliance, says Fed Chair Jerome Powell is waiting for more clarity before making any move on rates.
Trump's policy has flip-flopped. I've said before, he tariffed, he untariffed, he re-tariffed, and then he partially untariffed. So if you're a corporate CEO, it's extremely hard to plan when you don't know the rules. And that's the same for Powell. He doesn't know the rules. He doesn't know how it's going to play out yet. And so it's easiest for him and the Fed to wait until uncertainty declines.
Markets are still pricing in a rate cut of at least 25 basis points from the Fed at its July meeting, according to LSEG data. Other stocks on the move Wednesday included Disney, which surged more than 10.5% after it posted profit and revenue that topped expectations. And Google parent Alphabet dropped more than 7% after a source told Reuters that Apple is actively looking at reshaping its Safari web browser to focus on AI-powered search engines, citing an Apple executive's testimony at an antitrust case over Google's dominance in online search.
Well, joining us this morning from Titusville Ford, it's Mr. Bill Allen. Hi, Bill. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm great. Good to see you this morning.
Good to be here.
Yeah, it's funny. We were just talking about, with the internet and apps and all this stuff, people can get so much information today. But at the end of the day, people still want that personal touch and that
still have to have that personal touch.
Yes.
They can do a lot of homework up front and they can answer a lot of questions, but they still have a lot of questions when it comes to packages or, what option can be put with what package and, engine size or, depending upon the product they're looking at.
Special incentives.
Yeah, and then you look at incentives, and because you know as well as I do, when you read all that stuff, it'll say, if applicable. And so you have to figure out what's applicable.
Right.
And and so they want clarification, and they're looking for some guidance as to what decision they should make. And so it all comes down to at a certain point, your best avenue is to contact a sales consultant, go in, sit down with them, and now they come in and they have kind of their direction laid out and their thought as to what they want as far as vehicle package, what they're going to use it for. So they've done a lot of homework and they've got a lot of ideas up front, but people that do it every day for a living sometimes can come up with maybe a better solution. Maybe there may be a deal where the package is a better way to go than single options. But to sit down and take the time, and the sites are great, but when in our business, when we get to build a unit or find a unit, that's what tells us what really can happen.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to ask you too, do people still like to test drive vehicles, or when they're coming in, they pretty much know what they want?
A lot of people know what they want, but I suggest every time, and I encourage every time, to drive the vehicle. Because even though you're driving a 3-year-old vehicle, there have probably been updates, changes to whatever, suspension, transmission, engine, interior quietness, just a lot of different things. And it could potentially drive differently and probably has been improved, which is what our main goal is. Sometimes we hit it, sometimes we don't. But I always encourage them to drive it. Make sure that you're comfortable in it. Make sure it meets your expectations. Because the last thing you want to do is to buy it, take it home, and 2 days later say, well, I wish I hadn't have done this. I wish I'd have went a different direction or whatever it was. Because at that point, it's too late. You've committed, and now you're not. I guess you're stuck with it. I mean, money will fix anything and get you out of anything, but if you do it more correct up front, then you have less problem on the backside.
And that's probably another good reason why you want to talk to somebody like yourself.
Exactly.
Because you're probably picking up on, is somebody going between this one and this model, and I'm not just here to just sell them and, see a goodbye. I want to make sure you have a very positive purchasing experience.
Exactly. And you can read about packages, you can read about features and what they do, but until you so-called play with them or experience them, you really don't know what that's going to do for you or how it's going to work. And people say, oh, I would never use that. Well, you need to try it to see if you would or would never use it. It's just the way it works, and manufacturers continue to offer those packages and those individual items because of some benefits or what other people are looking for. And it's amazing to me that after people try those, more times than not, you'll get a positive feedback of where, I really enjoy that. That's neat once I got used to it and got comfortable with it. It's the part of getting comfortable with it and being willing to try it to see how it works. That doesn't mean that everything is for everybody. There are still those people who want plain, basic, simple, that aren't into traveling a lot and using like a Blue Cruise feature or adaptive cruise control or pro backup assist for a trailer, things like that they won't ever use because doesn't fit their lifestyle. But there are people who, once they try it, that's kind of neat. So the next time around,
yes,
we need more options instead of less options. Most people don't go backwards in options; they go up in options.
I think we've talked about that before. It's funny where you've had somebody come back, after purchasing, several years later, like, hey, I want to make sure we have, these things in this.
These are must-have options.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny. It's, like I say all the time, we started out, we didn't have indoor plumbing or electric. Now we have both. We don't want to give them up.
That's right.
And that's the way they are with options on an automobile is, boy, I like that cruise controller, boy, I like that adaptive cruise, or I like the lane keeping assist, or blind spot information, whatever systems they rely on makes their driving easier and creates different habits for them driving. And so once they have that, they don't want to give it up.
Well, I think another example, as you said, just pairing your phone up to your car. Like,
right.
You think, I don't need that. But then when somebody uses it,
mm-hmm.
and they're like, oh, this is really...
It's neat.
It's neat, yeah.
Or everybody, I shouldn't say everybody, but a lot of people, we've taken the radios now and we've eliminated the CD players. We've eliminated a lot of different things. How many people stream their music through their device? And once they do that and figure out how to do that, if they've never done it before, now that's neat. I really like that. Or navigation, or maps, or whatever's there, and the amount of information that's available to you. I never thought that automatic headlight dimmers would be such a huge feature that people, once they have it, they really enjoy that. It's like all of a sudden we don't have to think to drive, I guess.
Well, you mentioned the navigation part of it, and I just think about those people that follow it to a T, even though maybe a road is flooded. Like, well, it says to turn here. Like, you still have to bring in the common sense.
You still have to drive it, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's been a great feature now that all the navigation systems are now satellite-based versus the old SD cards. So the updates are instantaneous.
Wow.
And when you travel and you have the navigation system, if there's an issue on the road, you'll see that issue on the road, and you'll see how long it is for that issue before that issue clears up. It's just, but it's all satellite-based.
Wow.
And it's really neat to me that it updates so quickly, just like speed limit recognition. You go through a speed zone and it says 45, then it goes to 55, then it goes through. It tells you that. We're driving computers.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It is crazy.
Well, speaking of driving, tell us what's available now. If somebody goes to Titusville Ford, they're going to see a nice selection of cars.
We've got I think we have every product except the new Mustang available on the lot. Nice selection. Got a bunch of Broncos, full-size Broncos, Bronco Sports, Expeditions, Explorers, Escapes and Bronco Sports, the Mavericks, the Rangers, the half-ton pickups. And we've been very fortunate that if we don't have what somebody's looking for, we've been able to secure it from another dealer and make their wish come true, so to speak. And right now with Ford's employee pricing, there's nice discounts and savings on each vehicle. Certain models are offering low financing, other are offering smaller rebates. There's still some fairly good lease deals going on, not as good as they were pre the interest rate and everything taking off. I mean, that's affected what's going on. Still to be determined how much, if all the tariffs are going to affect our product. Fortunately, in Ford's world, we build most all our product is assembled in the United States. I think the Bronco Sport and the Maverick, I think, come to mind as the two that are built or assembled in our plant in Mexico, but everything else is assembled stateside, and I think there's wheels in motion to try to move those or some of that production to this country. So I'm not sure how the tariffs are going to affect this. We get that question a lot, probably 20 times a day, between parts and product itself. But I think I don't know if we'll ever know the exact outcome of that because of the way all the maneuvering's done back and forth.
Yeah, I think I think people are starting to understand that these things aren't going to be necessarily set. A lot of them are just the conversation is just getting countries to the table, and the intent isn't to keep them high. It's to
I think the other thing people need to understand is I think when they say 25% tariff, they're not saying your product's going to go up by 25%. It's some of the components may have an increase of 25%, but the total product, if you had a $40,000 car, you're going to add $10,000 to that car to make it 50. I personally don't see that happening, but I've been wrong before, you know. But back to your original question, we've got a nice selection in new, and then we've got a good selection represented across the board, pretty much of all of those in a pre-owned side. A lot of nice sport utilities, used pickup trucks, a couple used sedans. We don't see much of sedans anymore, but we've got a couple of those. So we've got a pretty good selection, and we continue to take more stuff in as we've been very blessed and been busy. So we're moving product and getting fresh trades in just about every day.
Let's do this real quick. You're watching the Morning Drill on Stream TV and on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel. Mr. Bill Allen with us here this morning from Titusville Ford. You know, just going through the pre-owned side of things, Bill. And again, I know we talk about this a lot this time of year with graduations coming up, but if you're looking for your first car, there's some really good buys here.
Yeah, we've got some nice product at I think very reasonable prices. All have been through the shop. All have been checked, safety inspected, PA state inspected. You know, oil changed, the whole gamut to get them ready to go. And we've been fortunate. We've been taking in nice lower price value cars, along with some nicer, more expensive pre-owned stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I see. Let me just go back to the top here. I mean, there's 2020 Ford Escape. Mm-hmm. You've got you got a couple of those.
Yeah, we've got a couple of those. We've got a 23 Escape. We've got a 19 Escape. We've got 4 or 5 Explorers. We've got a couple of Edges. Got 2 or 3 Rangers, different package, an XLT, a Lariat, a couple of regular crew cabs. We have a super cab coming. Half-ton pickups. We've got a pretty good selection of 4-door crew cabs, various ages, various miles. So we're pretty good shape as far as if somebody's looking for something in a price range or particular product. We've been pretty fortunate to be able to take it in or have it or be able to find it.
Yeah, that's great. And again, you know, as kids are graduating and going out into life, to start with.
All of a sudden you need a third vehicle, whether you replace yours and pass one down or if you just add one. I mean, there's several ways to do it, but now's the time. And the same way, I mean, we're into spring and it's time to, you know, hopefully you've got your snow tires off by now. But
are you saying it's safe to do that?
Well, I think it is. I don't know. I heard a temperature of 34 here one night in the next few days. That's getting down to where the frost and ice might form. But, you know, it's a good time to get the car serviced for summer and graduation because, you know as well as I do, it all goes by quickly. But once we start into now, Memorial Day, graduations, then we're into vacations and middle of summer, and then we're back to the other side of the routine starting over again.
Well, I was just thinking, too, you know, with employee pricing going on now, and you're thinking, well, you were going to take that family vacation this summer, you know, we're going to hit the road. I think so many people, again, over maybe since the pandemic or right before that staycation concept or that just wanting to get out and explore our country.
Right.
I still think people love to get behind the wheel and just go.
I think they do too, and I think that's part of what has helped our business, but has helped the American public. And I think with this Real ID and the process of flying and everything, people are now driving and going, and they've changed. A lot of them changed their vacation habits, and a lot of them are engaging in outdoor activity. So therefore, they're buying a vehicle that suits their need for whatever their lifestyle is and activities that they want to participate in. And I think they're doing more of that, maybe in 3, 4, 5 day trips instead of a 2-week venture here or a big venture somewhere, they're taking 2 or 3 smaller ones. The sum of the total is still the same amount of money they're spending, but
Yes.
they're enjoying more, maybe in different seasons or different areas, and not as far away from home as they were going. I think that's been a bigger lifestyle change than we really recognize. I'm not a big person on studies, but it'd be interesting for somebody to just see how much that's changed or what's occurred since that happened.
Well, and the level of comfort in like all the models, basically, Bill. I think it would have been not too long ago where, if you're driving to Florida or someplace, to take a truck might not have been.
Oh, would not have been comfortable.
Yeah.
And, and just the amount of standard equipment features that the manufacturer have offered that you used to have to put in a package, or make sure now this has air conditioning, make sure now this has cruise control, make sure it has power windows, or things like that are now all givens.
Yes.
To find it bare bones is almost non-existent.
Well, the other part of that just getting out and exploring, a lot of people have the ability to do work remotely.
Absolutely.
Vehicles are equipped to handle a lot of this stuff today.
Well, the inside technology with the workstations and the way we've taken the center consoles and the way things will twist and turn and lay down flat so you have room to put your laptop or whatever you're doing if you're working remotely or that's your type of work.
Or the kids need entertained in the back.
Exactly. Now we have, electrical outlets and USB ports and things that now you don't have to worry about buying the integrated entertainment system. They can use their own entertainment systems, and everybody's has something to do and makes the trip a whole lot easier.
Yeah. Again, it's comfortable rides.
Well, and I think as a manufacturer, Ford's worked very hard to build this product, but yet the components in the product tend to last a lot longer than they used to. Just the vehicle itself and all of the components they put inside. But it brings us to another point that if you're not mechanically inclined and you have a lot of extra things, it might be a good time when you purchase something to consider an extended service plan,
Mm-hmm.
so that then you have peace of mind down the road. Should a component give you a problem, then you have an avenue to get it fixed without draining your wallet.
And what's that come down to, Bill? It's
not a lot.
Not a lot per month, right?
Not
Onto
a lot
that
per month,
yeah.
and you can roll it right into the whole purchase price and payment, and it's peace of mind, and it's done. And then, if you would suffer that loss, now you don't have to worry about, well, do I have that much money in my checkbook? I've already taken care of it.
It's covered.
Yeah, it's being proactive instead of reactive.
Yeah. And again, if maybe you just purchased your vehicle, Titusville Ford, and you're planning a big summer, stop in, get that service scheduled, and
Get service scheduled. If you've had it a little while and you want to talk about extended service plans, we can do that.
Okay.
All kinds of parts, accessories. If someone has bought something now and they want to kind of make it their own or personalize it, Mike and Parts can certainly help you there. So I think we're close to being one stop fits all. We're trying hard at it.
you're doing a good job, Bill.
We appreciate that.
How can folks find you?
We're at Hightown Road in Titusville, or TitusvilleFord.com, or 814-827-3673.
Good to see
Stop
you.
by and visit us. We'll buy you a coffee.
There you go. Treat mom to some coffee.
We can do that.
Okay.
We can do that.
See you next month.
All right, I'll be here.
All right, thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
US President Donald Trump says he won't cut US tariffs on Chinese goods to get Beijing to the negotiating table. His comments Wednesday came ahead of Saturday's icebreaker trade talks between China and the US in Geneva. Until talks were announced this week, there had been no clear sign the world's top two economies wanted to defuse a trade war disrupting the global economy. And as tensions ratcheted up, Beijing has repeatedly said it wouldn't start talking with the US unless tariffs were suspended.
China says in order to have substantive negotiations, you have to bring down your 145% tariffs. Are you open to pulling back your tariffs in order to get China to the negotiating table?
No.
China's Commerce Ministry also claimed the US approached Beijing to start talking, but on Wednesday Trump seemed to suggest the opposite. Meanwhile, the Trump administration is considering exempting car seats, baby strollers, cribs, and other essential items for transporting children from the 145% tariffs in place on China. That's according to Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who testified before the House Financial Services Committee Wednesday. Trump sent mixed signals later. He told reporters he would look at specific industry requests for exemptions, but preferred to keep the duties broader and less complicated.
I want to make it nice and simple. I'm not looking to have so many exemptions that nobody knows what's doing. We have to make it very simple.
Late in the day, Trump also teased a major trade deal with representatives of a big and highly respected country that he'd announced Thursday. The New York Times reported shortly after that it was a deal with the UK, citing 3 people familiar with the plans. It would mark the first trade deal struck since Trump's self-styled Liberation Day, when he imposed tariffs on all countries in early April. A White House spokesperson declined to comment on the Times report.
The Gordon B. Garrett Funeral Home has been serving the needs of Titusville and surrounding communities since 1965. Mr. Garrett believed in tradition and commitment to excellence, standards that have been passed down from one generation to now a new generation, who will work to provide you with a beautiful, lasting tribute to your loved one. When you need them, they will be there for you. This has been their foundation for almost 60 years. The Gordon B. Garrett Funeral Home, 303 North Washington Street in Titusville.
Anyone with a kind and generous heart and a little money can be a philanthropist. You too can be a force for good in our community, and the Crawford Heritage Community Foundation is here to help you make the most of your charitable giving. We've partnered with hundreds of people like you to make our world and our community a better place. You can give through us to support scholarships or any charitable organization or purpose. Whether you're interested in establishing a permanent endowment or adding to an existing fund, we want to be a part of your plan. Contact us when you're ready to make your mark. Together, we can make your contribution go further.
If you're looking for a professional massage therapist, Tranquil Moments Massage in Titusville is here for you. Rayan Rauch graduated from Slippery Rock University with a bachelor's degree in exercise and rehabilitative sciences with an emphasis in athletic training. Tranquil Moments offers a wide range of services, from Swedish massage to deep tissue, sugar scrubs to hot towel inclusion therapy. Like them on Facebook and visit their website to learn more about all the services they offer. Tranquil Moments Massage in Titusville.
Thinking about switching to 5G home internet? Think again. Unlike Zoom from Armstrong, 5G home internet is delivered by a cell tower. The further away you are, or the more devices connected to that tower, the slower your internet is. Cell phone providers also play favorites. When their network gets busy, cell phones win, and your home internet pays the price. Stick with Armstrong to get more data, more speed, and internet whenever you need it, not whenever they want. Armstrong, keeping you connected.
J. Gill Plumbing and Heating takes pride in being the premier heating and air conditioning service provider in the area. With over 30 years of experience, our highly skilled and certified technicians will work closely with you to address your heating and air conditioning repair, installation, or maintenance needs. Our team is dedicated to making your home the ultimate place of comfort. Call today to get a free estimate. We also offer financing options and membership opportunities that provide peace of mind and cost savings. Call J. Gill Plumbing and Heating today, or visit them online 24/7 at jgillplumbingheating.com.
Sheer Design is Titusville's exclusive Paul Mitchell-focused salon. This full-service salon specializes in coloring, cuts, nails, and tanning. Owner Angela Saxon has over 20 years' experience as a Paul Mitchell professional. She and her licensed staff offer all cuts and styles for men and women of all ages. Call 814-827-0010 or stop in at 116 South Kerr Street in Titusville.
Hi,
Hi, I'm Jasmine Levin, and I proudly own and operate Puppy Levin. Puppy Levin is a pet care salon dedicated to caring for your furry companions. We provide certified dog grooming services along with boarding and doggy daycare. Our facility is family-owned and operated and promise personalized care for every pet that comes through our doors. If you're worried about your furry friend being lonely when you're gone, we also have on-site personnel 24/7 just for their comfort. Follow us on Facebook and call or text us at 814-758-9259 to make an appointment today.
Share the fun of train travel and relive our country's oil history as you ride the OC&T through the valley that changed the world. Learn about the past while traveling on vintage cars. See a variety of wildlife with stops at Drakewell Park, Petroleum Center, and Oil Creek State Park. Arrive early and see the vast collection of train and railroad memorabilia at Perry Street Station. After the ride, enjoy a night's stay at the Caboose Motel. For seasonal specials or for more information, visit octrr.org or call 814-676-1733.
Hi, I'm Heather Roberts, and I'm running to be your next magisterial district judge. I was born and raised right here in Titusville and went on to earn a degree from Penn State University in crime, law, and justice. I began my career in victim services, working with survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault, helping them to navigate the justice system with strength, compassion, and dignity. Today, I work as a paralegal in family and personal injury law. I'm a proud mom of 3, and my husband Jack and I are proud to call Titusville home. I humbly ask for your vote and your support on May 20th at the primary election. Thank you.
U.S. stocks rose Wednesday after the Federal Reserve kept interest rates unchanged. And President Donald Trump reportedly made comments that gave a lift to shares of chip companies. The Dow added 0.7%. The S&P 500 climbed about 0.4%, and the Nasdaq gained roughly 0.25%. Late in the session, stocks rallied as chip makers jumped after Bloomberg reported the Trump administration plans to rescind artificial intelligence chip curbs put in place during the Biden administration. A spokesperson for the Commerce Department later confirmed to Reuters this was in the works. Shares of chip makers NVIDIA and Micron Technologies jumped 3% and more than 2.5% respectively. Earlier, the Fed kept rates steady, with the central bank saying the risks of both higher inflation and unemployment had risen, further clouding the economic outlook as it grapples with the impact of Trump's tariff policies. Eric Ditton, president and managing director of the Wealth Alliance, says Fed Chair Jerome Powell is waiting for more clarity before making any move on rates.
Trump's policy has flip-flopped. I've said before, he tariffed, he untariffed, he re-tariffed, and then he partially untariffed. So if you're a corporate CEO, it's extremely hard to plan when you don't know the rules. And that's the same for Powell. He doesn't know the rules. He doesn't know how it's going to play out yet. And so it's easiest for him and the Fed to wait until uncertainty declines.
Markets are still pricing in a rate cut of at least 25 basis points from the Fed at its July meeting, according to LSEG data. Other stocks on the move Wednesday included Disney, which surged more than 10.5% after it posted profit and revenue that topped expectations. And Google parent Alphabet dropped more than 7% after a source told Reuters that Apple is actively looking at reshaping its Safari web browser to focus on AI-powered search engines, citing an Apple executive's testimony at an antitrust case over Google's dominance in online search.
Well, here's a real quick look at your forecast for northwest Pennsylvania. Areas of patchy fog early, cloudy, occasional rain showers, temperatures in the upper 50s. Cloudy early, some clearing expected late, lows down around 40. Friday, mostly cloudy, mid-50s for a high. But we get into the weekend, Mother's Day weekend. It's sunny on Saturday, upper 60s. Sunday, just perfect, sunny and low 70s. Monday, how about mostly sunny and low 80s for a high. Meadville this morning, checking in at 49 degrees. Cambridge Springs, Edinburgh at 47. Titusville, 50. Franklin this morning, 53. Oil City, 53 degrees here at 8:42. This is the Morning Drill. She hosts Recovery Is on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel. Angela Morton joins us here this morning. Hi, Angela. How are you?
Morning, Luke. I'm well. How
Good
about
to
you?
see you. Good to see you. You have a much larger title, but for those who watch the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel, they will recognize you as host of Recovery Is, which is a great program. You interview a lot of great guests, a lot of wonderful information, and I think you learn something every time you put out an episode, don't you?
Absolutely, yes.
That's great.
It is. I like hearing people's stories about their own experiences with, substance use, mental health, recovery, or their role in supporting people in or seeking recovery from substance use issues.
We spend a lot of time. I feel like when we have these conversations, it seems like the demographic is a certain age, right? And maybe we're not bringing in everybody into this conversation, but we're going to spend today talking about more mature folks here in Northwest Pennsylvania, and maybe the impact that everything that you're bringing to the table would have on that demographic. So where would you like to start there?
Well, we do talk a lot, just in general, about substance use, and particularly substance use and accessing services in rural areas. When we do prevention messaging, things like social media advertising to reach people with messages about drugs and alcohol, there is a large focus on that population that's like late teens to mid-20s, because that demographic is using substances more probably in larger proportion than other parts of the population. But as you said, we sometimes miss out on the pockets of people that we might not suspect are using substances as much as they might be. For instance, as you said, more mature adults or older adults who maybe in our ageist thinking, oh, this older man or this older woman, she can't possibly be using, or he can't be drinking that much. Just the assumption that maybe that's something we've outgrown, but there is an uptick in use in recent years in older populations.
Okay. What are you seeing in those reports? Are they people who live alone? Are they people who are married?
I can't break down that demographic, but you mentioned alone because when we had done this quick, what are we going to talk about today, that I mentioned that sometimes the social and emotional isolation of the loneliness and sometimes depression when someone loses a spouse or the kids have moved away, the grandkids are busy, and your sense of purpose and productivity and belonging can change with the later years. So maybe they're spending a lot more time alone and they're depressed or lonely or bored and are maybe drinking more than they used to. Or maybe they're taking a prescription and if there are any memory or cognitive issues, they might be using a prescription and drinking. And sometimes as providers, we miss opportunities to talk about that. And maybe a family member is saying, hey, this person's really forgetful. We're taking them to the doctor and considering, Alzheimer's or dementia or something age-related and missing out on an opportunity to screen for substance use.
That kind of brings to mind, too, I mean, what if somebody has been diagnosed with something and they're basically, hey, sort of a free-for-all, I'm just going to enjoy life and a party to the end. There's probably a little bit of that aspect to it.
There may be some of that. I haven't read or heard as much about that, but I think at any age, if you're talking like a diagnosis of something that there's not a cure for, a terminal illness, like why does it matter? I'm just going to take these pills or I'm going to drink every day, and how does it matter if my health is already not doing well? All of those things, though, do contribute to not feeling well and not being healthy. So it's probably a little bit of a double-edged sword where go ahead, let her or let him, because, these are the last few months or years of their life, while also wanting to have quality. And I would encourage people older, over, 55, 60, 65, to not be afraid to say, I'd like people to come over, or why don't you bring the kids over, or why don't we all go out to dinner this weekend, and not be afraid to ask. And if kids and family members and friends are busy, sometimes people just don't know, and you have to push a little and say, hey, I've been really lonely lately, and I'd like to have you out for dinner, or I'd like to have a cookout, or I'd like to go to church on Sunday with you, or something just to get out of the house. And sometimes when we're isolated, that's harder and harder to do because you hunker down and you don't want to leave. So it's really important to have activities and people in your life to prevent that isolation and depression.
I was just going to ask you about that socialization, getting out, even if it's going to church, going to, active aging, or one of the other communities that you have in Cambridge Springs, Titusville, other place, Lyonsville, to be able to engage with other people. It's so important.
It is, and not just around this subject, but in general, our wellness is around having that sense of belonging. When the Blue Zones in Corey were part of our grant consortium, and that project isn't necessarily in Corey right now, but if you read about the Blue Zones, it's a project across the country looking for opportunities to build health in our communities. And they took research out of other places in the world, like Okinawa, Japan, and said, why are they living so much longer? And not just longer, but why are they living longer and well? Like they have wellness long into their, later years. And one of the things that they address, there's 9, different categories. One of the things they address very actively is a sense of belonging. So they do walking groups and luncheons, and in that culture, they grow up with people from birth who are their friends all the way to the end of their lives. So it is really important to have people in our lives to, have that sense of belonging and sense of purpose. And that does tie to substance use in the sense that I was listening to a doctor on a podcast talking about the missed opportunities to talk to our older patients about their drinking, or about how they're using their prescriptions, or if they have old prescriptions in the house that they need to dispose of so that they aren't misused for something that they weren't prescribed for. And then just maybe sometimes missing those opportunities to talk it through and to ask, do you see people? When's the last time you saw anybody or had anybody at the house? And how do you deal with, if they say they're lonely, how do you deal with that loneliness? Or are you eating enough? And when you say you're having a drink every night, how big is that drink? Is it a wine glass with 3 glasses of wine in it? Is it a 12-ounce, 5% beer? Or is it 4 micro beers in a big glass? So that.
And is that your only dinner?
Right. And I can tell you from personal experience, because I know people who do that, where I'll say, what have you eaten today? And they can't remember whether or what they have eaten. And some of that comes with age and memory and cognitive decline. So maybe it even makes sense to keep a journal so that if you are having that drink or taking a pill every night, you're not doing it when you haven't eaten all day. So making sure you're taking your prescription with a meal, or maybe writing down when you've had a drink so you know how many you've had.
Let's do this real quick. You're watching the Morning Drill on Stream TV and on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel. Angela Morton with us here this morning. I'm going to just bring up a couple points, and maybe you can comment on each of these points. This is, I think, from a study that was released. But while the use of illicit drugs in older adults is much lower than among other adults, it's currently increasing, which you've said. Older adults are often more susceptible to the effects of drugs because as the body ages, it often cannot absorb and break down drugs and alcohol as easily as it once did.
Yeah, so as we age, I think any of us who are mature, as you said, or aging, that we do slow down. Our metabolism may slow down. The way we digest things slows down. I know that I notice I don't necessarily need to eat as much to feel full, and I take a little longer to digest. So I used to be able to just eat all day and had a really fast metabolism. That's slowed down. The same thing happens with the way our body metabolizes medications or alcohol. So it's important to, providers know this, and those who don't probably are reading more and more about it, that in geriatric populations, just as you might with a small child, in different ways, whether it's body size or the rate of metabolism, the medications are going to work differently. So giving an older person a prescription and then them maybe using it like they used to use it instead of using it exactly as their provider prescribed can be really dangerous. And it's also why I've talked to you about everybody having Narcan at home. It's like knowing CPR, and as long as it's available and we can save a life with it, then it's important to have, in households where anybody is prescribed an opiate or a prescription.
Yeah, and sometimes it's, well, here's the other point, sort of accidental, but older adults are more likely to unintentionally misuse medicines by forgetting to take their medicine, taking it too often, or taking the wrong amount. Some older adults may take substances to cope with big life changes, such as retirement, grief and loss, declining health, or a change in living situation. So things that, again, that you brought up, that some people might just say, it's part of life, just accept it. But not everybody can cope with a lot of these changes.
Yeah, it depends on someone's own, your existing emotional capacity to navigate change. So retirement or moving in with kids or grandkids or nursing home care. There's a lot of different, as you said, different factors that could influence that, what they're using it for. And the misuse, a lot of counties will give out those doTERRA pouches that I bring. Sometimes they're like a medication disposal, home disposal kit that you can get rid of unused prescriptions so that you're not misusing or overusing them. A lot of counties will also give out, and you can order them online, but they're a medicine bottle that has a timer cap. So put your medication in it and label. It comes with a label that you can make sure you're putting the right medication in it. When you open that lid, the timer resets. So when you close it and set it down on your bathroom counter or in your cupboard, it'll show whether you just took it an hour ago or whether it was 24 hours ago or 12 hours ago. So it's really, I personally sometimes forget even something like an allergy pill. Did I take that today? Every day kind of blurs together, and it's really helpful if you have any cognitive decline to have some means of, whether it's in a box where you have all of your medications so you know that you took your Monday morning and all you have left is the Monday afternoon. That is really important.
Is that would you help maybe somebody you're seeing figure this stuff out so that they know, hey, go to your pharmacist and ask if this is available in that pouch? Or, how much of a role do you have versus what the patient is supposed to be doing on their own?
I personally, in my current role, don't have as much, interface with clients or with patients, except for a handful in Franklin at the program. And it's why I talk about and I promote and I do education around those opportunities. A dentist, a counselor, a primary care doctor, an OBGYN, people can do screening across the board, just the 1 minute, that screening and brief intervention and referral to treatment if needed, that they can just screen and say, how many drinks a day do you have? Or are you using any prescriptions? Yes, only the ones I'm prescribed. Do you take them as prescribed? I do ask when people say, oh yeah, I'm going in to have surgery, I'm worried about being on medication, I've been in recovery for a long time, make sure and talk to your doctor about that, because it's your decision and you working with your doctor. It doesn't mean you can never take a medication. It just means that they and you should know going in any of the risks around like a recurrence of use that could happen. Or being able to say, I'll have that medication, but I only want, whatever number of days you recommend, and I want the smallest amount possible, and getting DisposeRx or Deterra or something and getting rid of those unused medications promptly.
Before we wrap up, there's some trainings that are coming up, and people can go to the website, recoveryiscommunity.org, and there's a lot of great information there, Angela, but under meetings and events, there's community meetings, training sessions. These are very important. You can check them out and see what's coming up and what's available, but maybe you can hit on some of the things that you have coming up.
Well, tomorrow there's a Mother's Day event at the training center in Franklin, 737 Elk Street, but there is a registration, so you'd have to go on the website. There's a QR code or a number to register. It's from 10 to 2. And then on the 29th of May, there are a couple of events. There's a movie day at the same location with the senior center from Cranberry. And I said there was something else on the 28th, Compassion Fatigue. We have an online.
29th.
Yes, 29th, Compassion Fatigue at noon. That is online. Anybody can click to join that meeting. And it's to help providers, counselors, clergy, law enforcement to address their own self-care and understand the cost of caring for others. So that's an important piece of making sure providers are taking care of themselves too and equipping themselves with information they can use to help their clients.
Yeah, if you've never maybe been a part of that process, especially when you're seeing maybe several clients every day, I mean, that can take a lot out of you just personally, because I think a lot of people in this field are very compassionate and they want to help. So to say, don't take that home, leave it here, that's easier said than done.
Absolutely. And it took me a lot of years into my career. And there are probably some times when I was seeing patients full time, working at a community mental health clinic, not just the occasional, like somebody who has a relationship issue or a mild depression or a situation they want to talk through, but like chronic and enduring mental health concerns. And when you're engaging in those conversations and being with people all day, if you are not cautious and aware and taking care of yourself, it's very easy to kind of get in this cycle where you become so enmeshed in your work and with your patients that you're thinking about them at night and you're having dreams and you're stressed and worried and carrying too much of that. So the compassion fatigue is really important. On June 6th, we have a day training in person at FCCA in Meadville with Dr. Antoine DeWahy, and he does motivational interviewing, which is a really great strategy for anybody who works with people or any of us who interact with humans on how to drop our agenda and meet people where they are to support their own internal process to motivate them for change.
Wow. Okay.
That's in person and registration is required.
Okay. And again, there's information there, and then that would be under the training session tab to get that information. Again, great opportunities here to learn more, to be engaged, especially if you're somebody that's maybe working with people or wanting to help. There's just so many things, and that one you said is in person, but there's a lot of virtual meetings that you can go to that you can sit at your desk, maybe at home, wherever, and learn and be more engaged.
Many of them are at noon. So we have a parent and child health series around substance use awareness. In the month of June, I think there's 8 or 10 sessions throughout June. You can attend one or you can attend all, and they're free and open to the public, and they have continuing education for medical professionals, nurses, LPC, social work, counselors.
Angela, great to see you this morning.
Thanks for having me, Luke.
Folks have questions, want more information, how do they find you?
Well, they can go to the website, recoveryiscommunity.org, and my phone number and email address, if you scroll way to the bottom, our consortium members who are all engaged are in this work, or in your local area, you can call your drug and alcohol county office or 1-800-662-HELP.
Thank you. Take care.
Thanks, Luke.
See you next month.